Good afternoon, lovely audience. I'm Jyoti here from Ek Nayi Disha Foundation and welcome you all to Babbel Gabble. And today's topic, very important topic, is storytelling. So, audience, why do you think that storytelling is so important in training or in teaching or in coaching? For me, I feel that it emotionally glues a person and it transforms a person into a different level altogether. So, what do you think about it? So, well, in today's discussion, I have my lovely buddies with me, and they are, I'll just introduce you with the individual preferences or their own skills, what I know about them. Uh, Krishna, welcome to this lovely program. And Krishna is a person, we call him Sarthi, a person who really inspires and motivates people. He is a life coach too. And thank you so much, Krishna, to be part of it with your lovely smile, as always.
I'm so glad, Jyoti. I'm so glad
Thank
to
you.
be part of it.
Now I have another guest, Avinash. He's a banker by profession, and he is a fitness freak guy. He motivates people to remain fit and fine, and he has an amazing smile which can melt a lot of ladies' heart, and a wonderful physique. Okay, very loyal, very hardworking guy. So, Avinash, thank you so much to be part of this.
Thank you, Jyoti ji. I'm very
And
happy to be part of this conversation.
thank you so much. It's all my pleasure that Avinash, you are here. And now I'll introduce my very bubbly, darling, cheerful Bhavna Verma. And we call her more. Can you make out how she looks like? She is our Sonakshi Sinha. So, people here are lovely lady and my dear friend, very cheerful. She is a very motivating girl. And whatever I am today, it because of this lovely group of buddies of mine. So, Bhavna, thank you so much for being part of this program. Welcome you all.
Hey Jyoti ji. Hi Jyoti ji, and
Hi.
thank you so much for this conversation. I'm great to be. I'm feeling great to be a part of this conversation.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So now, as the topic we all know is about the importance of storytelling. So I go to Krishna, our Sarthi, to start with this program. Krishna, why do you think? Hi, I will surely melt with your smiling face. Why do you think
Yeah.
storytelling is so important to connect with people?
Yeah. Uh, for me, no. First of all, before that, I will ask a question to each one of you guys. Now, what is the first thing that any kid listens to when he is like taken a birth and when he is 5 6 years, 5 6 months old or 1 year month? What is just first he listens to, in his life when he is,
Story.
2 years old or 3 years old? Absolutely, isn't it?
We listen
So
to stories.
we start our lives with stories. Okay, where your mom saying, बेटा ये है वो है रामचंद्र ऐसा है और भगवान ऐसा है ये है और चंदा मामा ऐसा है करके खिलाते हैं. So all that we start our life with stories, and when you're growing up, you start writing your story unknowingly or knowingly, and in the middle stage of your life, you will get to know what story I'm writing. Then you try to write up from that moment. You try to write up the better story of it. At the end, when you become old and matured, then you will give your story to you pass on your story to your loved ones and younger ones. That is how I see my life is full of stories. Life is
Thank
a
you
story
so
for me.
much. Yeah, wonderful insight, Krishna. Avinash, what do you think that why storytelling is so important whether to our children, to our colleagues?
Yeah, Jyoti ji, storytelling is yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
storytelling is very important because we connect with people. If you want to connect with people, you have to use stories. As a life coach, as a fitness coach, what I've experienced is if you tell stories, people will get connected. For example, why do you think that Bollywood or Hollywood is popular entire world? Because of stories. People like to listen to stories and they go and watch movies. So in the same way, when you're coaching people or when you're trying to connect people, it's very important to tell stories because right from the childhood we have been trained like that. Our mind is trained like that. So people like stories, and I want everybody to use stories in whatever coaching they are doing in
Absolutely,
their
very
lives as well.
yes, very true. Bhavna, what is your input into this about
Story, importance of
story?
story.
Yes, storytelling.
Stories are life. It's are the gist of life. Because as very correctly Krishna said that we start our journey of life by listening different sorts of stories, may it be mythological, may it be any chanda mama and panchatantra kind of stories. But why do we connect so much with stories? Firstly, it is very mesmerizing listening to a story. I'm a great fan of story. I'm a great story listener actually. So when we many things in our lives, in our day-to-day lives that we go through, we come across many instances where we at times look out for evidences. We look out for some proofs, like how far this is correct. Anything, like if we say you should respect your elders or anything in that sort. So through stories, we connect, we get that evidence, we get that connection, we get that thing fed in our mind through stories, and we get a proof. Yeah, this, for example, if we take Ramayana with that instance, like how a person should be, how simple and down to earth a person should be, how a person should respect his or her own spouse or the family members, elders. So these stories give us an inspiration, give us an insight to take up the task, to take up our life ahead through
Absolutely.
this examples.
Okay. Thank you all that you really understood and given a wonderful insight on why storytelling is so important to convey message to anybody, whether kids or to your spouse or to your friends or to your peers. Well, now I would like to say that, like many of us are in the coaching field, when you share your personal experiences with them, uh, how is the impact you see on your clients, or in your friend circle, I would say, when you just talk about your own personal life stories, how it's get connected? Krishna, can I ask you to please give your insight into it?
Yeah, how I connect to stories.
Yes, when you are talking as a coach, you
Yeah,
talk about your personal life as a story to
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So what
What
is
is the main important aspect of story that what I have seen is now if I say for 1 hour if I say about the importance of life, do this, do that, and all, people, the involvement of the audience is comparative to less because the span of attention, because these days we are so full of our busy works and thoughts, and so much of mind work will happen though we are in a program. So the span of attention is very less. But when you are trying to convey with a story, it leaves the listeners with so much of imagination. So when you're trying to say a story, it's already it all different. That the storyline may differ to each individual. They visualize it, they imagine it, how will it be, and all. So that imagination makes them to be connected with the story, and that will stay in their mind. Whatever words that we may speak may be there for a few minutes or something. Once you leave out of this session, you may forget. but the story, it creates visual impact to you, and it will stay for life, because whatever we have learned at our like 2 years or 3 years old, when we are 2 years, it still is there. About Chanda Mama story, we all
Yes.
remember it, we don't forget it, because it is nothing to remember, it's already imprinted. That is the impact of stories for me.
Yeah, Krishna has rightly said. Thank you so much, Krishna. I also now, when he was narrating this, I was going back to my own childhood days. There were days when I still remember we are in a rented house and we had an old gentleman with three, four grandchildren. Every day evening, I still remember he used to sit in a small little cot and he used to read out stories from Bible, though I have nothing to do with it, but the way he used to narrate to his grandchildren, I used to ensure that I go and sit and listen to the stories. So whenever I heard that grandpa narrating a story, that remained with me. As Krishna said, yes, it remains with us. And when I used to go back to school the next day, when I was in fourth or fifth class, I'm talking about that those days, I used to recollect those stories in my mind and I used to narrate in my own way to my friends around. And I used to think, why John did this? Why Christ has taken a rebirth? Why did he, bring out somebody out of death? And all these things used to be in my mind. And I really relived those stories in me. And it has impacted me so much that whatever today I am and whatever I think, maybe there is some impact of those stories in my life about helping others, caring others, about starting an NGO for the elderly care. Maybe these are the impacts of those stories. So I connect with whatever Krishna says. So
So why can't you say something about your NGO also? Probably we'll get to know more about your NGO as well.
yeah, to talk about my NGO, first of all, I am so glad and happy that I have such a wonderful support from my buddies here. My NGO is all about empowerment of youth and women into training and even building up a confidence in them, which mostly now we see is lacking in our youth and even to our in our women too. So we are into learning and developing them, our youth and our women. And at the same time, our NGO supports elder care, where we give a lot of facilities in the medical field, because medicines and all doctor visits are all very costly for somebody to sponsor for that. So we do take care of that. So this NGO is more towards um, serving society, first getting back from society and then serving back to society. So it's a cycle, natural cycle we all follow. So this is a very small NGO and we are into serving society for this. Thank you so much, Krishna. And do visit our
Wonderful.
new
Rajati,
website. Sorry, our new website
I was
is
about to ask about it.
yeah, it is do visit and you will see the activities what we do. It is eknaidishafoundation.org, and you can see the activities what we are into. You can see our vision, missions, and the volunteers who are involved in it. So thank you for being a part of and supporting this NGO by being a lovely guest today. So let's get back to our session.
Sure, sure.
Bhavna, any story do
Yeah.
you think has impacted your life? As for me, it has impacted.
One story that is very close to my heart, and uh, I again, whenever I feel down or anything, like I just remember that and get back to the firm. It is about a, a butterfly. How a butterfly, like the life cycle of a butterfly goes. Like they have to struggle, they have to open the cocoon and the butterfly emerges. That struggling part is something which everybody goes through in our life, in their life, uh,
Yeah.
respectfully. So in that case, when there is no one to help, we always think that there is no one to help me, there is no one to guide me, there is no one to support me. But we forget that we are already with a person, that is we ourselves. We are the only person who can help ourselves. And the way that larvae in that cocoon struggles, and the butterfly emerges with the beautiful colorful wings, and they can fly. So what I got an insight from this story is, like, we are the best persons to guide ourselves. If we are
Yes,
expecting it from others, we cannot, we'll be left nowhere. This is
absolutely.
what I have learned. And in that story follows, like, a man, he was just seeing two butterflies struggling. So he helped one of the butterfly by just pricking out the eggshell. That butterfly
Mhm.
was not able to fly, but the butterfly which did not get that person's help was able to fly.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
at times we don't need help, we need to help ourselves.
So you mean to say,
So
Bhavna, there is no shortcuts in life?
yes, there are no shortcuts.
Thank you so much,
No
Bhavna.
fast forward button.
Yes,
No
no fast.
fast forward button.
Avinash, you would like to share some story which has impacted you in your life?
Yeah, I mean, can I share my own personal story?
Absolutely. This platform is for that.
Yeah, I mean, Jyotiji, as you know that I was stuck at one place in my office for 15 years. I thought my life is now just going to office, sitting at one place. But I've seen a major transformation in last 1 year. Last 1 year, I've completely transformed myself. I lost around 15 kgs. So whenever I relate this to people around me, like when I'm trying to coach people, when I tell this to them that this is what I was, but I have changed myself, I've transformed myself, and I've lost 15 kgs. When I show my pictures to them, they get completely motivated. So that will motivate them, and that will motivate me as well. This is my personal story, and this story will be with me throughout my life because I have experienced it. So I can tell this to anybody. It will come from my heart directly, and everybody can relate with it. And it's a motivation story for everyone,
All
and
of
it
us.
motivates me as well.
Yeah, it is motivation to us also. So thank you so much, guys, for giving your insight into this storytelling session of ours. And at the end, I would just conclude that we don't alone need nourishment or a shelter or companionship, but we do need a good, lively story to impact us or to make our life meaningful. So, audience, we end our session here today. And thank you so much, my buddies, to be the part of this particular session. And now, to the audience, we are through with our own storytelling. Now, it is your turn. I would like to know what is your story which has impacted your life. So, please give your comments in our website link below. So see you soon with another session. And do read my podcast, which is Vintage Stories. It has a lot of different shades. Hope you will connect to those stories too. So thank you so much for listening and being part of this session. Thank you so much.